would be, oh, okay, now Mossy can hear us. Mossy, if you're able to, just, post your introductions, and I'll read that, and then start asking the questions. We'll give him a minute in order to reply, because it will take a while in order to have it so that he's able to type everything out. Psycho, I have a separate kinda, like, spreadsheet that I have with, all of the questions. Uh, I'll post, we can probably see the questions, it's just gonna be,
He's just winging it, really. Like,
yeah, more or less, that's what you usually have with debates and stuff like this. Um, I might go a little bit off script in terms of questions, but that's just in order to get clarifications and kind of, like, make sure that everyone's making the points that they wanna make, if there is points that are wanting to be made. That makes sense? Here we go. Hello, my name is Mossy Gamer, and I am representing the Glorious Party. Basically, strong military and having fun through festivals and stuff. Okay, cool. Anyways, now that we have everybody introduced, let's have it so that we start going through our first questions. First questions are really on the domestic policies of Zamotz. And to start this out, I would have to start with the question. The economy of Zamotz, both in governmental funding and civilian training, has stagnated due to the recent changes. What are your plans to fix this? And then I think, much like we will have it so that I think we'll have it so that we go through the 5 candidates in order as well. Um, so let's start off with Spoken Claw. The economy of Zamotz, both in governmental funding and civilian trading, has stagnated due to the recent changes. What are your plans to fix this?
Um, what was the first word? I couldn't understand the first word. The
Oh,
first
the
word of the sentence.
economy.
Oh, the economy. I
Yeah.
understood the commies. Yet. I think something like a guild where people can trade, like a center for that would be good to have. In
So a
general, we
kind
need,
of central
yeah,
trade.
yes, exactly, like
So
a
like
a
a
center where people can trade.
okay, so something like a national marketplace almost.
Exactly.
Okay. Let's have the responses from next would be Mossy. The economy of Zamotz, both in governmental funding and civilian training, has stagnated due to the recent changes. What are your plans to fix this within the nation? And we're waiting for his response. In order to kind of better represent this, I'm assuming that this is the recent changes within the Zamotz Union as well. Um, Mossy also has a response of a centralized shopping district. Would you like to expand upon that or give any more kind of concrete ideas, locations, what it'll
I
look
was gone
like?
for a second. I was gone for a second. Now I'm back.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just asking if Mossy has any ideas.
Oh,
I think if everyone has the idea of a centralized shopping district, something we should go into is asking about like Mossy makes a statement that local shops, although sounding nice, aren't very practical. I can agree with that sentiment, but so you're saying that somewhere where we would have like a national market would be a decent idea in order to support the changes. I'm assuming that by the changes that uh, that Bjorgen is referring to the changes in the auction house, and along with possibly internal changes from Zamotz. I'm not too privy to any of the internal changes in Zamotz.
I think it's
So,
just like
just is there anything else to expand on Mosti or not? Also, I like how we changed the debate stage channel to "Oh my gosh, Goomson is taking over." Yeah, of course. Um, okay. We'll see if Mossy has more response to that. Bacon, would you have anything to say about our question there?
I do. Um, I don't fully have the no. I mean, we've been at war a lot, and quite often, war is a drain on an economy. I'm not saying we should have less war. We should fight wars maybe smarter, so we don't waste so many resources on them. But outside of, my war haggle, I guess you'd call it, we need to inject more money into the economy, of course, to be seen in that. And it will take a lot of work to do that. And it's been made worse by the fact that previous prime ministers have not focused on the budget or getting money into the economy or building it up.
Yeah. You talk about injecting money into the economy. Is there any kind of like ways that you would go about that? Would you have
Well,
like
of course,
public works?
not through taxes. Taxes are bad. I think it's more better allocation of funds and discovering where funds are. I'm sure we have a lot of funds. It's just nobody knows where they are at any point in time. And I believe that is down to the overcomplication of our own government system.
Ah. So you're saying that in order to keep better track of funds and where they're being allocated by the government, you would have it so that
We need to sweep out the clutter in government.
kind of trimming off the fat within governmental systems and kind of getting to having it so that you're working at what is needed rather than everything that's just kind of been expanded upon and expanded upon as time has gone on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A very thought out response. Hubertus, what do you have to say about the recent changes and the different stagnations that have occurred in Zamotz and the economy?
Well, I think that liberalization and decentralization could help in this aspect. Regarding the centralized market, someone here earlier mentioned, I think that's completely foolish because we have to remember that spawn is no longer a thing. People are not going to spawn to one centralized place. They're going to be in their place, and thus it would be beneficial for us to have a decentralized, laissez-faire market. As that means that, well, sure, the shops will be smaller, but there'll be more shops, more spread out, and thus more potential customers.
So you're saying that rather than focusing on one central location, you would have it so that you would actually go the exact opposite of that and have like different services, different companies, different kind of like places in order to buy stuff. You would have that kind of spread out and use that in order to kind of bolster the economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And what are some Porus isn't very happy in the live reactions. What would be done in order to kind of encourage that? Because I get what you're saying in order to have it so that it's more local, but how would you have it so that that local economy is kind of supported throughout the Zamotz Union? Would you just
Well,
have it so that, oh yeah, go on.
Well, from what I know, at least in my local area, there exists there's the possibility of companies to form treaties where they basically form monopolies around certain products. This prevents people from establishing themselves in a branch, and thus, as PM, I will look into the possibility of cracking down on them to liberalize the market and make it so that people can more easily establish markets. Besides this, we're also going to fund the establishment of marketplaces where regular people can establish themselves in the market, so that the conventional methods of earning money, like mining, doesn't become the only possible way. There shall be alternatives to just mining and the regular conventional ways, and that is the market.
Okay. Now then, let's get to our.
Just a quick counter question to Seven. Do we actually have any? Could you name a monopoly for me in a specific market? You have in mind?
Well, I can name one, and that's the Viconia Brewing, and that's the Viconia Brewers Street. I think we're basically a group of brewers in New Viconia has agreed that they're going to produce a certain drink. Each brewery is going to produce a certain drink, and they made attempts to make that law. They made attempts to, for example, ban other people from producing a certain drink. And this is the thing that happens when those treaties, those guilds become too powerful. So we're going to oppose them and we're going to crack them down to make sure that people can establish business whenever they want and wherever they want.
All right. Thank you for your guys' responses. Also, I'd like the kind of interpersonal kind of questions that we have going as well. Though, of course, in terms of time, we might have to crack down on those if they end up going too much over time, I hope that you guys are understanding of that. But we do have time restraints to an extent. Let's see. Rage, what do you have to say about the economy of Zamotz, both in governmental funding and civilian training has stagnated, and how would you fix it?
Well, I think I'm basically opposed to basically everything everyone said here. I'm basically pro taxes as long as we can as long as we can manage them properly, which is I think what Bacon said, but a bit different. Like, as long as we keep detailed records on how much tax everyone's inputting into the nation and how much we're spending on things, I think we can definitely control that kind of without
So you're talking about having it so that taxes are instated in some sentences, and then having it so that said taxes are divvied up between different parts of the government, or or injected into the economy, or
to a degree. But I think that the main thing I want to hammer home in terms of internal and economic policy is I want to maintain any wealth Zamotz has within Zamotz. I think too much reliance is on things like the admin shop and stuff like that. I want there to be more trade internally than there is outward spending towards other countries, because that's how power dies within a nation. You lose funding. I know people can go mining and stuff like that, but it just that takes time. If everyone in the country is rich, you don't have to go mining, and so you can focus your efforts on providing pots to Shiro, or training yourself to be better at PvP, and
or tridents to the country. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
All right.
You can be a better citizen as long as you're not going mining every 20 seconds because you've spent all your money at the admin shop or something like that.
All right. Thank you for everybody who responded. Now then, I think that our next question is, public works have been funded for the first time in history, but it still needs help getting off the ground. What are your plans, if any, to improve Zamotz's infrastructure and to get public works put to work? I'm assuming that's the Ministry of Public Works. So I think we'll go down the list again. Or do you think we should switch it up? Nah, we'll just go down the list. Spoken Claw, what do you have to say about what are your plans, if any, to improve Zamotz's infrastructure and get public works put to work?
I think it should be organized in a way that it's clear, people can say, okay, this and this needs to be reworked, or this needs more infrastructure, and then when people do that, they get a small pay for that.
So a small
That
payment
would be my
for
idea. Yep.
okay, so a small payment for public works and like community
Like not
service and stuff
much,
like that.
but yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
something. Just like something. It doesn't yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's have it so that Mossy also puts his response as well to my to the question as time goes on. I'll read it out once we finish once he gets his response out there. Let's see. Crispy Bacon, what do you have to say towards this kind of issue and response here?
Well, I did try to join the public works group. However, I don't know what happened. It appears that just nothing's happening with it. When it got started, there was a big enlistment drive, and then nobody got enlisted. And there was plenty of people that signed up, but nobody that chose anybody. I mean, getting people into the public works program maybe might be a first hurdle to achieve, and then deciding what to go on first,
Okay.
and then providing like supplies for people who might be really good at building but not have the equipment to do so.
Okay. So you're thinking about having more of a recruitment first, then focusing on getting the rest of the infrastructure underway.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Okay. Okay. Let's move on. Has Mossy had a response yet? No, I do not think we have. Hubertus, what do you have to say about getting the Public Works Committee off of the ground?
To be honest, I'm a bit skeptical if the public works project can even is realistic. I mean, the intent is good to have people willing to work for the country, for the union, to build infrastructure. This is good, a good thought. But I'm skeptical on whether this actually works because, well, everyone has a life and everyone has their own interests, what they want to do. Some do want to improve the nation, and some do want to build roads, but not all want to do that, and people have other things to do. So I doubt whether this actually is a viable solution to getting infrastructure fixed, but rather, the union should encourage infrastructure construction, but I don't think this is the correct way to do so.
Okay. So are you saying that the Public Works as a kind of volunteer-based program itself is something that you would probably go after and change? Or are you saying that you would have it so that you would shift focus from the Public Works into private companies? Or am I just misinterpreting?
What I'm saying is that it's a good thought, and it could work in best cases. The problem is that I think we lack leadership in that. We have a team of people willing to build something, but we don't have plans on what to use that for. Besides, it shouldn't really be seen as enlistment, but rather, a contribution.
Okay.
So I think that leadership is needed, because at the moment I don't think there's a leader of that, and if there is, then that's a problem in itself because we don't know who the leader is. We don't know who to look to when regarding the projects.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Now then, Rage O Fire, what do you have to say about getting the plans in prep there encased in order to improve Zamotz's infrastructure and help get public works off of the ground?
Well, for the most part, I think this is like a multi-stage failure on the behalf of the entire government at the moment. Like, for one, I think that lack of funding might be contributing to the fact that we haven't done anything. Like, I know that my province myself, like, we've had some great work done by Poris, but I don't think he got paid to do any of that. Like, and I don't know if he's part of the public works team either. Like, I think public enlistment is great, but like you guys have said, the lack of leadership on that front has actually like kind of hampered how effective it's been. I think that hiring private groups might be a bit better if the economy was better at the same time, which could be done under assisted taxation. Sorry to go back to that point, but I think it could solve a few problems here.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I don't think that going back to that point is something that's really something that's uncalled for anyways. I think that's a good kind of like segment back to, because a lot of stuff revolves around what you should have in terms of taxes, and it depends a lot of the time. Now then, in the interest of moving on, wait, did Mossy have anything to say, or is Mossy okay, Mossy just replies with one word saying taxes. Okay. I'm not sure what to say to that. Would you like to expand upon that, Mossy, or?
He's not the
Okay.
hero.
I don't know. I don't know. It's strange having it so that people are some people are in VC and some people are not in VC. We can always just look back on his responses as we go through. Okay. Next question, I suppose. Historically, our citizens. One second, Bjorgen, can you move, please? I can't see the text right now. Thank you. Historically, our citizens have had little involvement in Zamotz's government. Do you have any intention of changing this, and how? So let's start off with Spoken, and then move down the list as always.
What was the question?
Historically, our citizens have had little involvement in Zamotz's government. Do you have any intention of changing this, and how?
I think a good idea would be for like big changes and all, like to hold public votes that they don't have to like decide it, but just to let the government see what the people think. Yeah.
So letting the government know how the people think, but how
Exactly.
would you enact that?
An example, when changes are there or something, there will be votes held, public votes,
So kind of a
where
public.
people, yeah, exactly, like a vote, a big vote, public vote,
Okay.
just to see what the people think, or maybe a survey. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you have, so it would be kind of like a public consensus that would be taken for different issues, or would you have it so that's on more of a what's it called? A more kind of petition type system, and then that gets brought up to the government? Because public vote
More
can
of
be
a
many ways.
more of a way that just to see what the people think.
Okay.
That's for the first thing, yeah.
Okay. Let's have it so that going down the list once more, so that Mossy will look out for his responses. As time goes on, let's see, Bacon, what do you have to say about the citizens' representation and how citizens have had involvement in Zamotz's government and how that
Well,
would change?
It's
Or
difficult.
if you would change it.
It would be difficult to get people who have more involvement than they right now have because of a few things. Number one, people don't want to be constantly pinged to have to vote in a poll, as I think you said before. People don't Zamotz has a monarchy, or a nobility at least, and Triumph has unelected officials. No saying that. And unless people wanted to abolish that, you wouldn't abolish that. Personally, I feel it gives a certain degree of stability to the nation, but who knows?
In
So
terms of the server.
yeah, it's not that it's impossible, but maybe somewhere for people to say their problems. Just a
Okay.
chat with
So
approvals
just
and
like
down approvals.
somewhere where you would send issues and then
Yeah.
have them checked out by the rest of the
So
government.
like it removes the constant pings for possible votes. Allows you to
Okay.
specify your thing, and even put solutions if you have them.
Okay. I could see that working. Let's have it. Is that all you have to respond to, or do you have anything else you want to say? I'll assume that you've made your point. Let me know if you have anything else you want to say. Mossy. Oop. Looks like Mossy, has decided to leave this debate because he can't hear anything. More or less. Okay. We'll keep an eye out if he comes back, but other than that, it's really up to him. Okay, moving on. We just had Bacon speak. Hubertus, what do you have to say about any intentions of changing the representation for citizens in Zamotz's government?
I think the problem is that we kind of lack democracy, or at least this is from the little I know, but I I assume that very few of our member states actually hold elections for representatives, ministers to the Senate Council. In fact, probably no states do that, which is a problem because if you want people to be represented, we must grant them a way of achieving representation. So thus, I think that at the very least, allowing some elected representatives into the council could public bolster public participation in politics. And yeah. So elected representatives is the solution I'm proposing.
Okay. And then to go more onto your idea of elected representatives, would they kind of like, would you have like a specific time where people would elect them, or would you just have it so that, how would they be representative of their kind of area in Zamotz or their community in Zamotz?
Well, I think that they would be elected, as the name suggests, and I think that I don't think the union government should tell states how they should have their elections. So I think that representation rather should. So I think that how to, at least when to elect those representatives, will be a matter up to the states themselves. But one thing will be clear, and that's there will be elected representatives.
So it's still very up into the air, but it's kind of like the general structure and ideas that you have in place.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Rage O Fire, what do you gotta say about having a more citizen or any intentions of changing citizens in government?
Well, I mean, if you mean adding citizens or elected officials to the ministry, like, I don't think that's what we'd want to do and or how the system was intended to work from its conception. Like, most of the ministers, as I'm pretty sure Hubert has said, aren't actually elected. Most of them are appointed, and I think that's how it's written in the constitution: is the prime minister appoints certain ministers to run as part as like in the ministry itself. Aside for that, there is a cabinet that is also appointed, but they don't get a vote on things, and I wouldn't mind, depending on what they're talking about and like what they say in there, opening that up to public viewing for, you know, to allow a bit more transparency in the government.
Yeah, for transparency on behalf.
Of course, yeah.
Okay. So you would have it so that
So the
So yeah, go
cabinet
on.
of the prime minister was able to be seen by everyone, like what they were saying, but the ministry stayed
But in
private
the end,
behind
it's still
closed
the
doors.
prime minister that has most of the
Yeah.
representative power
Yeah.
as the
obviously.
elected official.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I don't have to look for Mousy anymore. Very sad. Very sad they had the kind of mic failure or the speaker failure, I suppose it would be. We have two more questions in domestic policy, and then we'll move on to foreign policy. In interest of time, we'll go through all of them. We'll go through all of the domestic policy. We're doing all right on time. Been what, maybe 40 minutes? 40 minutes? Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I think we're doing all right on time. How are you guys feeling on time? You think we should be speeding this up?
Doing fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
I think we'll be able to get through everything maybe by like 2:30.
PM.
Hopefully by 2:30. I don't know. I don't really have anything that's like immediately, apparent. I'm not sure how everybody else is doing, but yeah.
Yeah, that was like 8 hours ago for me, man. I think we're
Yeah.
a bit behind schedule.
Oh, we are.
Yep.
Strange. Next domestic policy question. Do you have any plans to increase activity or recruitment within our provinces? This is pretty straightforward. Do you have any plans to increase activity? And if you do, like, kind of how would you go about that and how would you have it so that more people are active? I know that, is it still Eldham in the case where, like, a lot of, like, places are going inactive? Or I've seen that recently, at least during the weekend, there's been a large influx of players, so... Yeah, that's off topic. So, just to restate the question, do you have any plans to increase activity or recruitment within our provinces, and how, etc., etc.? We will start with Spoken once more.
I don't really have any specific plans there. Mostly just, yeah, recruit people, try to keep people active.
I get pinned. Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't have any plans like currently, but you would be willing and
Nothing
able to look into
specific, yeah.
it? Okay. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, inactivity is always going to be a large kind of part of any nation to an extent, because I don't know. I just think it's a large part of just being on the server because, unlike the case of like actual governments and governmental systems on this server, like people can just leave one day and then never leave a trace of them ever being there, you know? And there isn't really much you can do to stop that, you know? Anyways, let's get down the list once more. Bacon, do you have any plans to increase activity or recruitment?
It's inactivity is a difficult thing because you can't just if somebody goes inactive, you can't really force them to come back. And I'm not going to start saying to people who say they want a break, "Oh, don't go on your break," otherwise our nation will go inactive. Take your break, come back ready to get back in to it, and get involved. But we just need a constant supply of immigrants, of course. That's the only way to properly not go fully inactive, at least. So
what do you mean
increasing
by
recruitment is
okay?
is
Yeah,
always
I'm
important.
like, what do you mean by immigrants? But I assume that you were talking about
I mean,
people that are
yeah,
new to Eldham.
recruitment, I guess. Sorry.
Okay. Is that's all you have to say?
Yeah,
We're
that's
free to
all I've
move
got to
on?
say.
Okay. So just more recruitment for towns.
Mhm.
Hubertus, do you have any plans to increase activity or recruitment within our provinces? Or within Zamotz's provinces?
The main thing I have on my mind is decentralized recruiting, where we let each and every province recruit instead of the union recruiting itself. Because, well, the union is a diverse union. We have many different cultures. And in this case, diversity is our strength. people, when they join server, they want different things. And because we are such a diverse union, they provide many of those things. So thus, by decentralizing recruitment, we can gain many more people than by having at the current state. We should encourage provinces to recruit more people, not for the union, but for themselves. Because what's good for them in this aspect is also good for the union.
So, yeah, you would have incentives in place in order to encourage people, in order to have more people present. So would that like segue into like some type of representative and representatives in the government, or would that kind of be similar to having it so that you would have just like recognition based off that, or is there any like thing else that you would like to add on there?
Basically, we're going to tell the provinces you can recruit. You can freely recruit whoever you want, and we encourage you to recruit new people. That's it.
Okay.
Because I think the provinces get that recruitment is a generally good thing. So I don't think we need to do much to that besides just telling them.
Yeah. All right.
People like joining big nations. Why would we not say Zamotz isn't a big nation?
Yeah, I guess
Go
that's
to a place that they
point.
can't even find on the map.
Let's see. And of course we have Rage's response. So, Rage, do you have any plans to increase activity or recruitment within our provinces?
Well, I would say that isn't my job specifically. That is a job of the individual nation leaders within the union.
Okay.
It's mainly a job of the nobility who are here all the time. And if I'm not wrong, most of them are nation leaders that joined the union. But if you're not contributing to the union, if you're not, we don't have taxes at the moment. And if you're not actually actively continuing to recruit people, then what's the point in you holding any position of power whatsoever?
So, you would kind of go down the route of, if you aren't providing for the union, then the union will not provide for you.
Well, no, I'm of the opinion that it's the job of the nobility, and more specifically, the portion of the nobility that holds positions of power. So it's their job to recruit for their nation.
Mhm.
And it's
Oh,
my
so you're
job.
saying that it's
Yeah.
more of kind of an individual incentive there.
Yeah, it's their job if they want to keep their role.
Well, I don't know. Yeah. All right. I'm not sure if I exactly get what you're saying, though, because...
Right, so basically, the nobility would then be formally responsible for the recruitment of new players to the nation. If they don't wish to accept that responsibility, then they can lose their nobility status. From that, I will constantly ask them to do their job.
Okay.
There you go.
And Roshi is saying, for your information, nobility is just a paper title with no actual power.
I'm aware, but
Okay.
a large portion of the nobility actively hold strong positions of power in certain parts of the union.
And I mean, they get to vote. So
yeah, some of them, including myself, actively get the vote. I know that Nindo he's the Sultan of the Razuni Sultanate. He actively still posts nation adverts like every 2 days. I post daily. Like it's not hard. You just get a literally a form and just post it on there every day.
let's centralize it then.
Yeah.
And then you can advertise here in
Exactly.
this server once you've got people into this server for your region, that is.
No, that is inefficient.
Yeah.
Same reason I explained, because people look for different things. so they cannot join different servers that can serve their demands.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
I think we're about ready to move on to foreign policy. We have one more question in domestic policy. This is a pretty large question, so I'm just gonna like put it out there. And we'll have like a one sentence response. There isn't really that much need for explanation here. In your opinion, what is the largest issue within Zamotz at the moment? And then let's just leave it off at that and go on to foreign policy. So spoken. What is the your opinion on the largest issue within Zamotz? And then we'll just have it so that that's
Organization.
organization. Okay. Let's see. Now, Bacon, what do you think is the number one issue within Zamotz?
Cluttered government.
Come again? You cut out.
Cluttered government.
Cluttered government.
Yeah.
Cluttered government. Okay,
Yeah.
my bad. Hubris.
I'll answer this later.
You'll answer later. Okay. Rage.
I think there's a lack of communication across the whole system, really.
Okay, so organization, communication, kind of clutter generally. So just a lot of different issues that need to be ironed out within the organizational sides of this things. It looks like Spoken is going to be away from keyboard for a hot second, and then we'll continue. We'll ask him. We'll have it so that we ask him last in these next questions that are coming up. Moving on to foreign policy. Oh, rage. Moving on to foreign policy.
Excuse me, but I'm ready to answer now. And I'd rather say the jingoist establishment.
Come again?
The jingoist establishment.
The Jingoist establishment?
Jingoist.
Okay. I can't say I know what that is as an outsider, but
Extreme warhawkish.
okay.
Extreme warhawkish nationalism kind of thing.
Okay. Okay, let's move on to foreign policy. And of course, we'll have it so that Spoken speaks last in this case in order to have it jingoist. That's strange. I don't know what that is because I'm an outsider, of course, so I'm just kind of going off what I can see. I don't know. We'll look into it. We'll have it so that Spoken is speaking after. So let's move on to foreign policy. There are many opinions in our government over whether or not we should become more interventionist or less. What do you believe Zamotz's role is on the global stage? And then we'll have it so that Bacon is the first candidate that we ask.
Okay.
Oh, looks like Spoken's back.
I'm just going anyway.
You can.
It's fine. I'll ask you the question, Spoken. Let Bacon have his turn, and then we'll go back to you.
Okay.
Yep.
Generally, I don't see how we can become more interventionist. There are a few little bits elsewhere where maybe we could have jumped in, but we didn't for some reason. But we jump into about 90% of the things. So I can't see how we become more interventionist. It's more if we stay interventionist or not.
So you're arguing is that we're as
We're at the
Zamots
max.
are
We're at the
already
cap.
very
We're at the cap.
interventionist.
We're at the
Yeah,
cap.
okay.
There is no way past. As going back to what Hubris
So
said
would you
earlier,
prefer if we went less interventionist, or are you just kind of making
I
that?
mean, I want it to be of personal choice and not detrimental to the people who choose not to join said
Okay.
thing. So if you're going to go fight a war, and if we lose, if the people not to be taking part in said war are to lose stuff, that's why. I know we're not in a position to lose right now, just, but
As a
still.
general statement, like in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll go back to Spoken for this, and for Spoken, the question that was being asked is: there are many opinions in our government over whether or not we should become more interventionist or less. What do you believe Zamotz's role is on the global stage? And then you can have your response now, because we were waiting for you to be back.
Okay. It's we're in a interesting position right now. I think we should definitely chill a bit more with all the wars at the moment, and make some smarter decisions than just declaring war on Russia.
Okay.
And yeah, we should at the moment I think we should focus more internally, especially we have to incorporate the whole revenue thing and all. Yeah.
You're speaking of the Eldrash conflict with the Eldham Entente, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very crazy situation over there. Okay, let's move on to Hubertus. There are many opinions on the government on whether we should become, or whether Zamotz should become more interventionist or less interventionist. What do you believe Zamotz's role is in the global stage?
I think that some must become less interventionist, but it should still maintain a certain level of intervention. However, this interventionism shouldn't be through force, but rather through diplomacy. We should become more diplomatic in our matters of foreign policy and try to basically get those countries close to us to become friendly with nations closest to us.
Okay. So kind of more of a soft, or not so much as a soft, but a more soft than the past Zamotz's actions.
Yeah, basically.
Because yeah, go.
Yeah, talks are with a big stick.
Yep. And then of course, rage. What do you feel on whether or not the government should become more interventionist or less?
I am okay with what we're doing at the moment. I think that it's not that we're interventionist by nature. I think it's once again a lack of communication amongst the triumvirate and the prime minister that's causing us to be involved in so many things at once. Like,
Of course, there's always the argument to be made there. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Continue.
No, it's fair enough. Like, I think that having four people, like three people, like prominent people that can like do a lot of the government's work assigned to foreign policy, you're always going to have some kind of overlap in responsibilities, and therefore, you know, like one person could talk to the AWE and say they're going to invade, and the next person could come along and say that they're going to be best friends. And, without that level of communication and a clear goal on what they want to achieve before stepping into the situation, it's going to end up being a big mess on both sides. And eventually, people get tired of mess and resort to war, especially when you've got places like Shiro, which are basically like 90% dedicated to going to war with people. Like, it's very easy to just pull out the stick and slap them in the face, isn't it?
Yeah, so you're saying that the
But that's just
power
my
of the
view on it.
Zamotz
So I'd want
and
to
of the Union is
somehow
kind of leaning towards
coordinate
that.
everyone and keep them under the watchful eye of the Prime Minister, rather than allow them to run freely in different sorts of foreign policy.
Okay. Did we have someone leave? I think yeah, that's someone leave. We had Spoken leave the stage. Very strange. Is he still here, or did he just accidentally leave? I don't know. I don't know where
Are we meant
Spoken
to
went.
have like 5 minutes of silence or something? Or
I mean, not really. We only got like 3 more questions left, and then we'll call it a day. Where is Spoken? Very strange. Oh, there he is. Gosh dang it. Oh, okay, he joined back. He's got permissions. Okay. Alright, next question. Members of the Zamotz government are currently of the opinion that they should sign less non-aggression pacts and limit their alliances. Do you agree with this position? And we'll start with spoken. That's strange. It seems like people are getting moved around in this stage. I don't know what's happening. Where is spoken? I don't know where spoken is. Oh, it appears that spoken is
Oh.
having connection problems for now.
We're back.
Well,
Ah,
there's spoken.
So, can you all tell me where I cut off in that long?
where did I cut off? Or where?
I'm not sure. I feel like we just had something crazy happen.
Yeah.
I
Man.
thought you made the end of your point, Rage. Was I mistaken?
I don't know because I don't know where I cut off. Basically, Prime Minister keep eye on triumvirs more. Boom.
Yeah. Yeah, we heard all of that.
Okay, that was it.
So you cut off after you finished your point. Okay. Of course,
Dog.
so are we back? Is everybody back?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
back.
we're all fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question. We have like 3 questions left, and then we'll call it a day for all this. Next question. Members of the Zamotz government are currently of the opinion that we should sign less non-aggression
You're
pacts and
really
limit
laggy.
our alliances. Do you agree
Oh.
with this position? And then we'll start off with spoken.
Me or is he a robot?
Yep.
Is it just me? Is
Hello?
my internet dying?
Can you hear me? Oh, it appears that spoken's internet
Oh.
is in fact dying.
Here we go.
We'll
Yeah,
have it
so-
so that
Mine,
Bacon,
no,
you
no,
start
no.
off.
Mine did as well.
Yep.
Is the debate being DDoSed?
It's Mossy actually DDoSing it.
It's Merconis again. No.
We're kind of, anyways,
Great.
I think until we get spoken back, we'll have it so that we have Bacon lead off here. So members of the government are currently of the opinion that they should sign less, that Zamotz should sign less non-aggression pacts and limit our alliances. Do you agree with this position, yes or no?
I have no idea what
So you're not of the
alliance.
opinion.
I have no idea what alliances we have right now. More to the point, I think
Yeah,
it needs
so
to be
again,
more
it's more of
publicly
a,
available what we have. I mean, I'm
it's
pretty
more
sure
of
the
a,
internet's just died again.
yeah. No, I can hear you. Okay, maybe I can't hear him. Can anybody hear me? Very strange. B Hutch is able to hear me, okay. Very strange how everybody except for me is having connection issues. That's very strange.
What?
You guys are able to hear me, right?
Oh, the question. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I don't know, this is very strange. We're having, like, really weird connection issues. Okay.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, we're having very weird connection issues in the server, I suppose.
Not that either.
What?
Can you just type
happened.
it? Because
Very weird connections issues. And I sent the face. Very weird. Is anybody able to hear me right now? Say something in live reactions. Say hello, Goomson, in live reactions. I'm the puppet master. Okay. Are any of the candidates able to hear me? Yeah, this sucks. I don't know what happens. I am the puppet master here. I say hello, Goomson, and everyone says it. So we'll see how things are going. I know that Bacon said we need to reassess our interests and move towards sensible and well-worth alliances.
Oh my god, it's back.
For like
Are we
30
back?
seconds.
For like 30
It's good,
seconds.
though.
Quickly,
Yeah.
speedrun answers.
Quickly. Members of the Zamotz government are currently of the opinion that they should sign less non-aggression pacts and limit our alliances. Do you agree with this position? Yes or no?
Non-aggression pacts, we should go mad with them. Alliances, probably move towards more worthwhile alliances that we might already have, but I don't know.
Okay. So like more yeah.
Yeah, more naps than alliances though.
No NAPs. Okay. Let's see. Spoken, you there?
Yeah.
So members of the Zamotz government are currently of the opinion that we should sign less non-aggression pacts and limit our alliances. Do you agree with this position?
I'm not that of an expert on our foreign politics with alliances. I think it mostly will depend on the situation. In general, I would say alliances won't hurt.
Okay. They won't hurt, is what you're saying. Okay. Let's have Hubert. What do you gotta say about non-aggression pacts and different alliances?
Oh no. This sounds a bit wrong. But regarding this question, I do think that we should not sign as many alliances, which I don't think we should tangle ourselves to many alliances. But I do think that we should probably sign more NAPs. Because, well, peace is good. It's good for the economy. War raised money, as someone here earlier said. So I think, and it guarantees good relations and could be a stepping stone for future friendly relations. So I do think that we should sign more NAPs, particularly with smaller nations, and possibly also guarantee their independence. I hope you heard that.
Oh, I just heard someone. Okay. Rage, are you there? I know that you're saying your internet is dying.
Sort of.
I call upon you, Rage. Members of the Zamotz government are currently of the opinion that we should sign less non-aggression pacts and limit our alliances. Do you agree with this position?
Sort of. Mostly sign alliances, figure out what we have, stop signing NAPs.
Okay. And then, of course, this also was a very loaded question with the Entente reforms as well. Let's see. Which honestly, I'm surprised we don't have a question on all that. Whatever. It's whatever. It doesn't matter that much. Historically, Zamotz has cared little for our personal reputation on the public relations, my bad, on the world stage, and instead sought to do what we thought was right. Would you continue this policy, or would you continue to seek our personal or public relations, despite the cost that can sometimes bring? And then we'll start out with Spoken. I feel like we have less issues now. Hello?
Hey,
You there, Spoken? It seems like Spoken's having internet issues.
spoken die again.
Yeah, Bacon. Members of the Zamotz government are currently of the.
Yeah.
I mean, my bad. Historically, Zamotz has cared little for our public relations on the world stage and instead sought to do what we thought was right. Would you continue this policy, or would you seek somehow to improve our public relations despite the cost it can sometimes bring?
I would. Well, I don't know. I've personally. There's a few situations where I don't know if Zamotz has done right. You know,
Mhm.
if you care for your PR stage and then your PR is that you fight to do so little, but you'd right to do what's right, when you don't do something that many people believe is right, it'll hurt you more than if you had focused on your PR a bit more. So, but the controversial part moves in our own foreign policy. Perhaps we need to focus a bit more on PR.
Okay. Spoken, are you there?
I'm back here.
Okay. Historically, Zamotz has cared little for our public relations on the world stage and instead sought to do what we thought was right. Would you continue this policy, or would you seek to improve our public relations despite the cost it can sometimes bring?
I think that doing the right thing is more important than our general relations.
Okay. So kind of like the differences that are made there. Oh my gosh, what are people doing in the live reaction chat? Do I have... Yeah, I assume other people are moderating that. That's, I don't know what's going on with that. Let's have... So, Huber isn't here anymore, so... We'll have this, Rage goes ahead, and then we'll go back to that if Huber shows up. So, Rage.
Hello.
Historically, Zamotz has cared little for our public relations on the world stage and instead sought to do what we thought was right. Would you continue this policy, or would you seek to improve our public relations, despite the cost it can sometimes bring?
I don't think that is true, that we have sought to do what was right on the world stage. But
So you disagree with that as well?
yeah, I disagree with that, but I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. What should be right is what's best for us. And it
So
doesn't
Zamotz
matter.
comes first.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the others think, because it's not our job to placate them when it comes to things that we're doing. It should be our job to protect our citizens and to enrich them rather than to worry about everyone else.
Okay. And I don't see Hubert coming back.
Yeah, he's got
No bad. Did I get his name wrong? Hubertus. How strange. By right in this case, it is meant as a right by us from Bjorgen. Not necessarily what is generally right in the global sense, also from Bjorgen.
Ah.
Does that
Well-
change your guys' responses?
yes.
I mean, yeah. I guess.
Okay.
Yep.
So do you want to revisit that while we wait for Hubertus to show up again?
Rehash it as look. We still
here he is.
don't do enough PR. Either way we look at it, and I don't see why people wouldn't want to do PR. Like, it's odd. Surely, if you have the whole
Well, of
world coalition,
course.
you suddenly, because we did something so wrong, suddenly nobody wants to be our friends then, and we will lose and die. And now that'll be my final statement. Then I've got to go. Good night.
See you, Bacon.
Vote for me.
Bye.
All right, Hubertus. Historically, well, we're on like the last question, anyways. Historically, this is for you, Hubertus. Are you here? I'm not sure if he's here. Very strange. Also, we have Pizza gone.
Pizza?
I mean, my bad.
Pizza?
We have
He's not
we
even
have
a
Bacon
regular
gone.
citizen.
Yeah, I said pizza on accident. It's actually an alt, guys. Don't worry about it.
Yep.
No, I'm joking. Well, the name's Bacon, and I accidentally said pizza. That's my bad, of course. I just think of food. Very strange. There's a lot of different Hubertus said had some technical difficulties, won't be able to answer in BC. So, Hubertus, would you like to talk about how historically Zamotz has cared little for our public relations in the world stage and instead sought to do what they thought was right by Zamotz? Would you continue this policy, or would you seek to improve our public relations, even though the cost it can sometimes bring to Zamotz? And then you can put that in responses or candidates talk, and then I'll read it out. Such a shame that this has gone like 10 minutes over because of how the issues we've had.
Yeah.
Very strange. I'll keep an eye out for Hubertus's response, but I think this last question is what we'll end it off for tonight. It's no secret that the last few weeks have been ones filled with important events, with situations having developed in Merconis, Ulderash, and Bardonia. Do you have any opinions on how these situations were handled? And then
Who are you asking? Me?
one second, I'm just looking for responses from Hubertus. My bad. We'll start out with spoken, and then we'll go to Ridge.
Okay. I don't really know much about Melkonis. I can't really say much about it. Olderush. I don't 100% know what exactly was going on, but it seems to be not exactly best handled. Yeah. Bardonia is a complicated situation that I was also a lot of involved in. I think that's being handled mostly, at least on a Zamotz government stage, fairly good. The Bardonia thing. The Olderush thing, not so much.
Okay. And then Rage.
Me. Great. Alright, so I think this falls back to quite a few points that I've made over the course of the afternoon for you, Goomson, but evening for most of us. That one, the triumvirs, they've handled these situations, and we don't really get, even in the ministry or the nobility, we don't actually get a full view on the situation. They brief us afterwards, but not like there's no like proper timeline of all their like different efforts to try and get peace and stuff like that from any situation. It's usually like, oh, these guys attacked us, we don't like them, let's go to war, favor or not in favor, and that's about it. Which is something that I very much seek to change.
Yeah, you feel like we need more information before deciding whether or not to support or not to support.
Yeah, when Bjorgen says that it's no secret that the last few weeks have been filled with important events, I wouldn't say that I knew. I know that there's been wars, but I don't know why. Because from my personal dealings, because I know Chelverlick and Potatoes from back when I used to help them in other situations, but
yeah,
from what I've heard from them, there was a disconnect in the form of communication that we've been having with them, and I can't clarify that because I'm never led into any of the situations that we get told. Like, it's like a 30-second, like, oh, hey, can you rubber stamp this as we go to war? Like, and I don't want it to be like that anymore.
Okay. So, like, you want more information to be put out there and have it so that more information is made available to people as they're making these decisions.
Because it doesn't help, if any country, its own, like, not only the electorate's not informed, but then if you don't inform the people that are supposed to be making the decisions, like, which I suppose is the electorate, but, this is a tiny, like, if you don't inform the ministry, basically, how are we supposed to make an informed decision on the subject?
Okay. And then we have Hubertus's responses towards the historically Zamotz has cared little for public relations. We have for the question of historically Zamotz has cared little for public relations on the world stage and instead sought to do what was right for Zamotz. Would you continue this policy, or would you seek to improve Zamotz's public relations despite the cost it can sometimes bring? And Hubertus' response to that is public relations can be vital, as we could potentially utilize it for diplomatic purposes. Thus, we shall seek to focus more on public relations while still maintaining the dignity and integrity of our current policy. That's a fair response. And then it's no secret that the last few weeks have been one filled with important events and situations having developed in Marconis, Alderash, and Bardonia. Do you have any opinions on how these situations were handled? And Hubertus replies, the Marconis situation was a diplomatic failure, mainly due to misunderstanding. We should be more diplomatic and be welcome to mediation regarding border disputes. Bardonia is obviously an imperialist power, so it's more their fault for diplomatic failures than ours. The Alderash situation originated from a petty dispute that could have been solved easily through peaceful means. Although I do think that we could have been more diplomatic with more sensible demands, the Alderashi need to take responsibility for their actions. And then that's the end of his response. Psych, no. Psych, get out of here. Delete his comment. Get it out. You don't call me out on that. I believe that we have basically everything that's really meant to be said. Blake is asking to speak on Alderash. I'm not sure if this is really that vital to this debate that's going on right now, but I mean, it really is up to you guys whether or not you want to have it so that we have different officials come up and speak, because as of right now, I believe that for our debates, we've covered pretty much all of the topics that were required, so we have free time, essentially. Blake wants to offer context on Alderash. Are you fine with that, Jorgen, or are we good to invite him up here?
Okay.
I'm good to invite him up here. Where is he? Where's Blake? There he is. Oh, there he is. I'll be back in a second. Feel free to talk about the context, Blake.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Great. Awesome. So as far as Alderash goes, for those of you who don't know what happened, specifically, Aurora ended up stealing $7 million worth of items from a place known as Boardwalk. The members that were most hardly hit were in Triple Entente territory. So that whole war is just over that. All the demands are in line with what they stole from these people. And I'll go into Bardonia as well. We had a few, as I can best describe, rogue citizens claim a 25-chunk island that Bardonia claims is theirs. At the moment, they're not actually going to declare war on us. I actually need to speak to Crazy about that after this. But yeah, it's not as bad as it seems.
All right. I was just reading off of questions that are prepared for everyone. Well then, I believe that's pretty much everything we have to talk about today. Are we good to close out this meeting? Because I think that everyone's made their points and kind of given people who've cared to listen in for clarity's sake on voting and the likes like that, what they need to be known. Who was it that has the recording again? And also, what was that? Psych, what? I saw that. That's too crazy. Anyways. That's strange. Is there anything else that we want to talk about before we go, or are we good to head out? Thank you guys for having me, by the way. I know that I was just a mediator in this, but I feel like it's still a kind of good idea and good like way in order to build up public relations as you were talking about earlier. Ooh, the transcript as well. Is that all we have to talk about? Is that all we gotta do? How are you feeling, Bjorgen? Are you happy with this? Okay.
What are we saying?
Thank you guys for having me. I think that that's pretty much everything that we have to talk about. Thank you guys for having me here, and then yeah, go beans, man. I'm out of here. Thanks, guys. I'll leave you
Yeah,
guys to
get out.
debate anything else if you need to. Bye bye. Thanks for
Okay.
having me.
So when are we invading the AWE?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Oh,
Mhm.
that's pretty cool. Oof.
Do we want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Go to
Come on.
pens? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, also, but like, I need to PvP with some people from Shiro, but they keep ignoring me. This is not good for military purposes. Clearly,
What's up?
I keep trying to PvP with Shiro, but they don't accept whenever I offer to.
Yeah, they don't really play much Legacy, to be honest with you.
I know, it's sad. I tried
Yeah.
PvPing against Astro, but like, I don't.